Hi everyone, I'm CJ Papa, and welcome to the Met PGA Notebook. We are here at the gorgeous Tam O'Shanter Golf Club in Brookville, Long Island, and over the next 30 minutes, we're going to take you inside the world of golf right here in the Met section, considered around the country as the one section that has the top club pros in America. Now, joining me on the panel today is Mark Brown. He is the head golf pro right here at Tam O'Shanter. Next to him is Daryl Kestner, the head golf pro over at Deepdale Golf Club in Manhasset. And right next to me, the director of fitness for Callaway Golf, that's John Otterish. Guys, welcome to the show.
My pleasure.
Well, guys, we'll have a wide range of discussion on our panel. First, the New York State Open. We'll also talk about why junior golf in our area is so competitive. We'll give you a tip or two to take out on the golf course. And, we'll talk to John about staying in shape. So when you need to make that key par in the 17th hole and that birdie on 18, your fitness level is up there. Now, guys, when brought up the New York State Open, and you guys have both won it, playing in it, but what is it like to be able to be a club pro in our area and have Bethpage Black as a place to play a big championship?
Well, I think for the viewers that have played Bethpage Black, they know what a test every hole is out there. A lot of the holes you play out there, there's not really a birdie hole out there per se. The condition of the golf course, the rough out there, it's just a test, every shot out there.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, the golf course is the winner.
The rough was down a little bit this year, so it was a little bit more playable. I think that's why you saw a little bit lower scores than in the past. I know back in 2009, after we played right after the Open, if you hit it in the rough, it was a real penalty. It was more of a pitch out, get it back in the fairway. But a little more friendlier this year. But again, they have the Barclays coming back there next year, so I think they're going to start getting that rough up again.
And Daryl, what did you think about the way the course played?
I thought it played beautifully, actually. A shorter hitter actually even had a little bit of a chance to do well. But it is a long hitter's golf course, but the greens were so smooth, not too fast, not too slow. So that's, I thought the scores were pretty good because the greens were so nice.
Now, the champion was Rob Labritz. It was the second time he's won the New York State Open. What did you think of his performance, Mark?
Again, Rob's been playing well year in and year out. Rob doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes out there. He had a little bit of a cushion out there. But when he gets it going, it's tough to really catch him.
But even down the stretch, that golf course is so demanding. Every hole, he, started off, I think at the turn, he had a 6-shot lead on my assistant, Matt Dobbins. And then Rob stumbled a little bit, made 3 bogeys, and then Matt happened to make 2 birdies on 14 and 15. All of a sudden, it's a 1-shot lead. And that is not safe at Bethpage. But, to Rob's credit, he parred the last 4 holes. Anytime you do that with a 1-shot lead, you're pretty much going to win the golf tournament.
You guys know what it's like to cross the road from 14 to 15 and have that lead and then walk up the hill at 18 and win. What does it mean to win that tournament, the State Open at Bethpage, Daryl?
It's a special treat to have your name on the trophy and to associate it with Bethpage because of the history. It's very, very difficult to win in this section.
In our section, the Met section, there's so many players that can win each tournament. I came from the New England section where there may be a handful of players that could win. And you come here anywhere from 20 to 30 guys each tournament could win this tournament. So when you do hold the trophy in your hands, it's pretty special.
I see a lot of amateur golfers that are coming into my golf academy that are looking to get their game to the next level. When you guys are preparing for the State Open, what's your regimen as far as whether it's practice and fitness, going out, practice rounds? I mean, is there a lot of preparation, and how do you do it?
I think anyone that takes it seriously does it the right way. They monitor their practice time. They eat healthy. They get good rest. They exercise. It's it's not the same. A high intense all the time. It's not down all the time. It's up peaks and valleys of trying to do your best and then get your rest and monitor your practice.
And CJ, that's one of the things I think we see in the Met section more than anything, which is what's keeping us so competitive. I mean, we by far have, I think, the best club pros in the country. And now we're seeing our junior golfers are just phenomenal. And it's really, I think, in part from my aspect, is that they're seeing mentors like Daryl and Mark who are really preparing themselves with fitness, nutrition, practice, proper club fitting, and all the things that the professionals out on tour are doing. Our club pros are doing, and they have the game and the talent to teach these younger junior golfers, and the results are just phenomenal golfers, junior golfers that we have like Clancy Waugh and Matt Lowe, and we're seeing them compete on national levels, and it's unbelievable the talent that this section is bringing out in junior golfers.
And John, you do mention the junior golfers. Guys, why do you think golf has become more popular for young boys and young girls to take up at, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old? Because I remember when I was younger, you didn't play golf until you were like 14 or 15 when your father maybe brought you to a golf range.
I think when we were growing up as kids, it wasn't really the cool thing to do. It was more baseball and hockey and the rugged sports. But you see more kids doing it nowadays, and you see younger kids competing and winning these tournaments. So, they see the fun they're having out there, I think. And, as you said, they're starting so young. By the time they're 14, 15 years old, they're winning bigger tournaments, and, they're getting accustomed to winning.
You're also, I think you're finding a change where the golf courses are starting to give back some time to these young kids to have a tournament there. That 80 or 100 kids are now showing up at a lot of these nice golf courses for some competition, and it's great for the family.
John had mentioned Clancy Waugh, and Clancy Waugh was the low amateur at the New York State Open. And Darrell, you know him pretty well. What do you like about his game?
It's a full, well-rounded game. I remember when he was just a little kid, and now he's about 6'2". You see kids like that enjoyed it so much, and you can tell they're going to be good. They're a good student, so they learn well. Also, they take the lessons seriously. They work on the long game. They work on the short game. They work on the mental attitude on the golf course. They have manners on the golf course. So it makes them a well-rounded individual.
I think one of the things that the Met section has really done well is we have so many great junior programs. I mean, we have the First Tee program, which is great, which is getting them started. And then at the clubs where these kids are working, we, like Mark and I here run a junior program. So that's really how these kids are getting started at these younger ages. And then as they start developing, we bring them into the gym and we start introducing fitness and golf specific and developing their athletic ability. And it's not only just for golf, but it's just great to develop the kids' athletic ability for all sports.
I think you have to make sure the kid's going to have some fun. I don't think you ever want to push someone into it. But the want and desire to get out there, and then once they get out there and they get the right instructor or the right fitness coach, get on the right path to playing the game the correct way, the enjoyment of the factor will go up, and you'll see them out here forever.
Now, I mean, it's not just about junior golf in our area. That golf is a sport that I know I love, and that every time I get out on the golf course, I want to play better. And that doesn't always happen. And it may be my fitness, so John will have to help me with that, but it may be my swing, which Mark and Darrell can help me with. What would you tell someone who's like me, who loves the game of golf, who gets to that one point where you just can't get to that lower number? How do I get there?
The secret of this game, there's no secret to it. The better the mechanics are, the better the golf swing, the more repeatable the golf swing is. So you look at the simple stuff, the grip, the stance, the posture, the alignment, the ball position, tempo, balance, things like that. The swing plane is the most important thing about the golf swing. It dictates where that ball is going to go, but still yet, those fundamentals is what enhances that.
And Mark, how important is it for me to take lessons from guys like you?
Well, I think it's important just to make sure you're doing the right things. A lot of people are out there practicing, but they're practicing the incorrect thing. To Darrell's point, to get a good golf swing and to get to that next level, I think you really have to repeat that swing. And the swing you're working with your instructor to be on the same page with him. If you're working on the wrong thing, all of a sudden you might be practicing for hours on end, and you're hurting yourself more than anything else.
The greatest golfers in the world have a pair of eyes on them, their coach watching them. In this game, you can't see yourself. You can kind of look down the driving range and say, oh, there's a good swing. It's a little shaky swing right there. But, it helps to have that pair of eyes on them for a little bit of guidance.
And as people always say, what you feel and what's real. You might feel like you're doing something, but until you have your coach behind you and the set of eyes behind you or a video system behind you, then you're going to really see what you're actually doing.
And what they have to realize is that PGA professional, Mark and Darrell, they're called what I call the gatekeeper. All right, they're there and they're viewing that golfer and they're every aspect of their game. What's going on with their swing, whether their equipment's right for them.
So how do you guys work together?
So Mark might be working with somebody that has the same swing fault over and over again, and he's trying to correct them. And that golfer just can't physically feel or get into the positions that Mark may want him in. So he'll send him in. I'll do a physical evaluation. I'll do a swing evaluation along with Mark, and we'll decide that whether this golfer's swing fault is it a mechanical fault where they're lacking flexibility or strength or balance, or is it something where they have the same repeated fault because they need more instruction. So we'll work as a team. I'll give them the physical ability to play the game. Mark and Darrell give them the golf instruction to play the game. And between the two, I know that through research that we've done in the golf performance business that 90% of amateur golfers will reduce their handicap if they work with instruction, if they work with fitness, and if they have the proper equipment fit for them. So those are those three major things that you want to work on: instruction, proper equipment fitting, and fitness. And you're going to have a lower handicap. Hi, we're down on the range here at Tam O'Shanter Golf Club with my PGA professional, Mark Brown. And one of the things that Mark and I are going to try and explain to you today is the most common swing fault is loss of posture. Now, this swing fault can come from two things. One, losing your posture because you're swinging incorrectly, or lacking the physical ability to do it. Mark, can you demonstrate to me loss of posture swing fault and what we could do to correct it if we're just swinging bad?
Yeah, as John mentioned, we work quite often together as a team, and what I see a lot of my students doing, they get in a pretty good posture set up here. As they start the club back, though, however, the club starts back, and as they start back and the club goes up, their whole body starts lifting up, and as John says, comes out of posture. And they get up in here in this posture position, the lower half of their body really doesn't have a whole lot of power or strength to get back to that ball. So in turn, what do? They come over the top, as you've heard before, swing with their arms and upper body, and tends to hit a high fade and cut or slice. So that's where I kind of go into John and start to them a little bit about how their flexibility is in their lower half of their body, their upper core. So John will explain a little bit more about this now.
All right, so one of the things that we're going to do now is Mark's going to take that golfer and refer them back to me, because it's not a swing fault, it's a physical restriction. So here's the tip to fix that physical restriction in your golf swing. I want you to take your 5-iron, put it straight across your shoulders like this. You're going to set up in your golf posture, turn into your backswing, and really feel that coil and torso rotation. Now at this point, Mark was saying the swing fault, the loss of posture, is raising that knee and locking it and changing your spine angle. So we want it bent, load it into that right side, and turn as far as you can. Staying in that spine angle, turn all the way down through your full swing and feel that stretch in your follow through. Hold that for a couple of seconds, bring it back and repeat it. Now, in this segment, we just fixed your swing tip for loss of posture, and we gave you the perfect exercise. So try these two at home. It's going to help you hit the ball better, more solid, and you're going to play better golf.
PGA Tour player experience at TPC Sawgrass for you and 3 friends. Only from MasterCard.
Hey guys, what's the holdup?
First time?
Yeah, actually it is. Yeah.
Making your time on the course last as long as you possibly can. Priceless. MasterCard World Elite cardholders now have access to select TPC courses. Book your trip today at pgatour.com/MasterCard.
Patience has its place. But when you're looking for a new crossover, and find one with exceptional fuel economy and exceptional features, patience can wait.
During the Lincoln Summer Exclusive Sales Event, get limited time offers on Lincoln MKX. Plus 4 years complimentary maintenance.
It's not just luxury, it's smarter than that.
The top of the show, I had mentioned how this section, the Met section, considered to be, the tops when it comes to the club professionals and how they play out on the golf course. It was a couple of years ago, Greg Visconti. Last year, Rob Labritz. They are the low club pros at the PGA Championship. A couple of guys who have played in PGA Championships are, Mark and Daryl. And what is it like, Mark, to play in the PGA Championship?
I've been lucky enough to play in 3 of them, and it's unlike anything you play around here. The crowds, first of all, are enormous. Not quite used to them, signing autographs all week. The golf courses are set up very difficult, very similar to a Bethpage, under tough conditions. And, typically that time of year, it's pretty hot where we're playing too. So all those elements right there are fun, but yet at the same time pretty stressful.
Daryl?
It's a highlight of a club pro's career a lot of times. I've played 12 of them. Seems funny that someone's asking me for my autograph at these things. But it is, it's a feather in their cap. It's good for the resume. It's just, it's a thrill.
And what do you guys think? We have some really good golfers from the Met section, like Danny Balin. How do you think their chances are this year? And
Danny won our Player of the Year last year. He's won a bunch of tournaments. He's playing great. Hits the ball a long way, hits his irons pretty good, and if he gets that putter going, you might see 3 in a row for the Met section.
Yeah, absolutely. He's physically fit. He's a good, strong player. He's got, well-rounded game, long game, good short game. He took it very, very low and shot 63 course record. So he could be a contender.
People really don't understand how hard that is to actually qualify and get into the PGA Championship. I mean, you're out there playing with Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson. This is the best players in the world. I mean, how many spots are available? And when you start getting to that point where you're thinking you're going to make it, what's going through the head?
Well, I mean, it's a pretty rigorous process to get into the whole PGA. I mean, we start off with our local section, the 160 guys for 9-10 spots. And then from there you get to the national level where you're playing the National Club Pro.
For you guys, the PGA Championship is something that you strive for. For someone like me or for John, maybe it's our local club championship. We want to make that round of 16. Can you tell me and tell us, how do we handle sort of those extra nerves and the pressure that we have to deal with at sort of our level that you've had to deal with when you step up in competition?
Well, I think, we get nervous as much as you get nervous out there.
Really?
I remember playing my first PGA Championship, was a dogleg left, and there was so many people out there, I decided to hit 3-wood just to make sure I get up over their heads. So to think of the pressure that I had that day, I'm sure you guys have the same thing coming down with that match to go. And to deal with it is just trying to play, the same game you play every other day and not think about the result, the end come of what's going to happen.
Well, like Nicholas said, if you're not nervous on the first tee, you're not trying hard enough, or it doesn't matter to you. So he would be nervous. So it's okay to be nervous. It's how well you get over it, how well you overcome adversity like that. That's part of the game, and that's the fun part, to try to get over and work on it. If you hit a bad shot, like Hogan said, the most important shot's the next shot. So you hit your shot and you go forward.
Do you find, guys, at your clubs that during the big events, or maybe even just during a regular PGA Tour event that's on in the grill room, that you find the guys and girls are watching more golf? I find that a lot of people seem to be watching more golf on TV.
I think they are because, with Tiger's injury and whatnot, there's more guys that can win each week. And as John was saying earlier, the young guns are coming up there, and they're all shooting low numbers. And to see the talent that's out there, it's just kind of fun to watch nowadays.
And there's a guy on tour, Keegan Bradley, and not that I know Keegan Bradley, but he went to St. John's, and St. John's is in our area, so you kind of sort of gravitate to guys that you sort of know. How do you feel about a player like that who went to St. John's locally here and is playing pretty well on the PGA Tour?
Well, I happen to know Keegan. He's a great guy, and he's doing well on the tour, and we were happy to see him get out there. And it's funny to think where he was playing here in our section just a couple of years ago. So when we're watching him this weekend, he's the hometown favorite, and we're rooting hard for him. And he's got the talent, as we saw this weekend, and he's got one win this year. And just 2 years ago, he was playing here in our Met section. So, I mean, that again goes to show you that we could really breed some good talent, from our area.
It's fun keeping up with the local talent that has blossomed.
Yeah, but we also really have a lot of local talent in our pros, like Mark and Darryl and Rick Hartman and some of our great club pros, and just the events that go here. I mean, we're looking in the paper, and all our members from all these different clubs are always checking to see where their club pros are. And there's a lot of talent right here where we're kind of always like logging on, and we're looking at Newsday every week to see, where they're ranking and how they finished. And we're going to these clubs and these golf courses, and we're rooting them on as they're playing,
I'll be rooting for you guys, and I'll be rooting for these guys. I always do, but now I'll root for you even more.
Excellent.
Man, short again. I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
CJ, that's probably one of the biggest faults in putting is bad pace control, bad speed control. It is probably the most important thing in putting is to have perfect speed, because if you do that, your long putts you can hit up for gimmies or 2 putts, and then on your short putts you can hit at the right pace to take the right break so you read it more correctly. So hitting the putt the right speed is one of the most important factors in putting.
Now, I don't know if you know this, but Darryl is known as one of the greatest putters around, and the putt I just hit was absolutely terrible. So, Darryl, how do we correct the problem I have?
Well, one tip I can give you is this, that all great putters hit the ball in the sweet spot of the putter. okay? The common denominator of all good putters is they have great rhythm and tempo, which accomplishes this. So what I'm saying is that every putt you hit should take the exact same amount of time. Let me demonstrate. If I have a 3-foot putt, it takes me exactly the same time as it does a 15-footer and a 30-footer. So when I stroke a putt, internally I have a metronome in my mind going. So when I pull the trigger, it literally is saying this, 1,001. That's for a 3-footer. A 15-footer would go like this, 1,001 for 15 feet. And then a 30-footer like this, 1,001. So I hit 3 different putts there, but took exactly the same amount of time. So all of those had calm, perfect rhythm to the correct amount. So I had calm acceleration to the correct amount. The 3-footer went back shorter and threw slower, which took 1 second. The 15-footer went back farther, but gathered more momentum to go 15 feet. And then the 30-footer went back even farther and gathered more momentum. Obviously, I could take it back 3 inches and whack it, 30 feet, but not good rhythm, no good rhythm. You won't hit the sweet spot, and then bad pace control. So if you work on your rhythm of the stroke on the 3-footer, the 15-footer, and the 30-footer, make them all the same, you'll hit the sweet spot more often and have good pace control.
And as you're learning to do that, should you practice on a flat putt, or should it be an uphill putt or a downhill putt?
Well, you want to get the speed on all putts. So you want to do 3 up, 3 flat, 3 uphill, 3 downhill. And notice that every putt is taking the same amount of time. That will teach you good rhythm. And only when you hit the sweet spot every time for the rest of your life will you develop a feel to be able to run the tables.
One million moments, 9 exciting weeks, 1 summer to remember. Hot summer fun at Mohegan Sun. When it's your time to shine, come see us.
What do you say when you find a car with exceptional fuel economy? Loaded with standard features? How about yes?
During the Lincoln Summer Exclusive Sales Event, get an attractive sign and drive lease on the Lincoln MKZ. Named the most dependable car in its class 2 years running by J.D. Power Associates.
It's not just luxury, it's smarter than that.
What makes this area unique and the kind of professionals that, give the lessons and run the pro shops?
Well, in this area, there are so many true golf clubs. It's not about how many rounds you get through a golf course. It's not how much money the club makes. It's the quality of golf and the golf environment and atmosphere.
In the Met section, we really have like a family atmosphere with the professionals from club to club. And one of the things that I see from an outsider or from the golf pros is, Mark and Daryl and all the other clubs, it's the ladies programs, it's the junior programs, it's the programs, for the guys that are playing and, 9 club hole leagues. So they're really getting everybody in from beginner to the advanced level. So, the Met PGA pros around here really have something for everybody at the clubs, which I think is really something that's unique.
Just get them involved in golf and let them know how much fun you can really have out here.
And guys, earlier in the show, we broke down the New York State Open, which was won by Rob Labritz. Well, later in the fall, it'll be the Met PGA over at Old Oaks in Westchester. And guys, first of all, what do you know about the golf course, Daryl?
Magnificent golf course. Right in that area, there's so many good golf courses. Century, Old Oaks, Brayburn, and just in that area, just to name a few, Purchase. But Old Oaks is one of the old-time classics that we talk about in the Met area, being the old school golf, where it's position golf. It's not like a Bethpage where it's long and demanding. It's more position. It's going to bring more people into the mix of possibly winning this golf tournament, because it's a strategic course where, you know, it's placement and small undulating greens, small targets, well bunkered. It's going to be a nice test for everyone.
Now, Mark, how do you have to change your game when you look at the New York State Open? As Darrell said, you can just kind of hit it out there, and then you go to Old Oaks.
As Darrell said, Old Oaks, very unique golf course. We were lucky enough to play there recently in a Pro-Am to get a feel for the golf course, and we were talking earlier, Darrell and I, about how it really kind of takes the driver out of your hands if you really want to not bomb it down there. You know, hitting more hybrids for me, and just kind of position yourself around the golf course. But you really have to think around the golf course, where as Beth Page, you really have to get it out there first of all, and then worry about your second shot. But Old Oaks, between the condition of the golf course, the greens, the undulation of the greens, I think you're really going to have to position your ball on the greens and not put yourself on the wrong side of the hole out there.
Now, Darrell, do you like that sort of challenge, the sort of a thinking man's approach to a round?
Absolutely. You know, I think, you know, Mark would have a huge advantage of me at Beth Page, but I think at Old Oaks, you know, I'm going to have just as good a chance because it's going to be a premium on the putter there, in the second shot in the putter.
And how important is your guys' practice round for that? I mean, you know, tell us, like, you know, you're writing a lot of notes, what club you like off the tee, slopes of the greens, you know, where to be, where not to be, where your misses.
Practice round's really just taking numbers, what we feel comfortable off the tee, what our eye line sees, good targets to pick up out there, charting the greens. You know, in particular, Old Oaks, you know, a lot of slope on those greens, so you really can't position yourself on the wrong side of the hole, or you're looking at a three-putter possibly knocking it off the green.
Now, we had a chance to talk about the Met PGA. There's also the Met Open, which is at Sleepy Hollow. I had a chance to play it earlier this year. It's in fantastic shape. And guys, you know, besides yourselves, who do you like out there to maybe come away with the title?
Unlike the Met PGA, at the Met Open, you're going to have these young guns. And so it's going to be even harder to win, because you have the best of New Jersey and Connecticut and Long Island and Westchester. So it's going to, you know, a Met Open is pretty difficult to win. And playing on a wonderful golf course, Tillinghast, McDonald Golf Course like Sleepy Hollow, it's not just the bombers that have the chance. That it's going to bring everyone into the spectrum, that, you know, that premium on scoring ability. So that's the great thing about this game, that, you know, it's anyone can play it. You know, a 16-year-old girl can beat an NFL linebacker if her technique is there. And so you have, you know, the older generation, like, you know, a Zeringer, McGovern, Billy Britton. You have a lot of good players that, you know, that can still be contenders with these young kids. And then you have great assistant pros that can really play. Danny Balin played in the PGA. Matt Dobbins won the Long Island Open. You have some really good assistant pros. You got some good head professionals. It's going to be an exciting tournament.
Mark, Darrell, and John, thanks so much for joining us right here on the Met PGA Notebook. I hope you had a great time. I had a great time, and I know our viewers learned a little something. I know, John, flexibility is the key here?
Yeah, we're going to work on getting your body moving a little bit in your golf swing. We'll get you there.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Well, that'll do it for this edition of the Met PGA Notebook. I'm CJ Papa. Now, just remember, a great month of golf is coming up. The Champions Tour at Westchester, Barclays at Plainfield, the Met Open at Sleepy Hollow, and at Old Oaks, the Met PGA. Plus, on Labor Day weekend, it's Patriot Golf Day. Get out there and give some money, because it all goes to help wounded warriors. Once again, thanks for joining us right here on the Met PGA Notebook. We will see you in the fall.